Okay, so we're back. It's been about 5 days. I have a Honda OEM carburetor. I went ahead and got the OEM. I think I said I was going to get the knockoff version, but this wasn't that much more money. It didn't come with the gaskets and fuel filters and things like that, but I don't really think I'm going to need those. But if I do, I'll purchase those separately. So I'll go ahead and open this guy up and see what we got. Nice. All right. So there is one OEM autochoke carburetor for Honda GCV. What is it? GCV 160. All right. And I'll go ahead and put a link in the description to this exact one. Just make sure that it fits your model. In this case, it is the one with the autochoke lever right here. That's important that you get that. Okay, and now let's go ahead and put this on there. And I'm just going to go ahead and blow this air filter out. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. And before I put this on, I just went ahead and gave it a little spritz of WD-40 on here. This is the choke, auto choke. Okay, so we're about to get going here. So, in the time that from the time that I've taken this off of here until now, I have actually watched a video and learned a nice trick on how to put this carburetor and everything, all this crap, right back on here. The reason I watched that video, I wasn't too concerned about it, but the reason I watched it was I was working the other day and I found this right here. After working on this mower and a couple of chainsaws, I found that spring laying on my floor. So, of course, I went right into panic mode and started searching diagrams of this and diagrams of the chainsaws and all these different things. And as it turned out, one of the chainsaws I had bought had a little busted piece on the carburetor, and it fell right out of there when I was doing a compression test. So I did figure it out, but in my panic, I did search for a video on this to see if some sort of a spring went in here. Anyways, I did learn a nice trick though. So here it is. The trick is, and I'm going to credit this to this lawnmower lady. Go check her YouTube channel out. Very good. So the trick is this, and I wish I would have learned this with other carburetors as well, and I'll go ahead and make a separate video on this one of these days here. But these are, in this case, these are M6x1 bolts. I got these at the hardware store. You can go ahead and order them on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description to the exact ones I needed for this, the exact right thread and length. I would just go ahead and order those personally because I drove all the way to the hardware store thinking these would be cheaper, and they really weren't that much cheaper. But I made a little screwdriver slot in the end of these things. So we're just going to screw these in. And these are just going to serve, I'm just going to hand screw them. Don't even need the screwdriver right now. These are just going to serve as a placeholder, basically. So those are in there. You'll see how this works in a second. The first thing that's going to go on here is going to be this auto choke. Okay, so next up is going to be this carburetor. We're going to put the throttle into the first hole here. The governor is going to go into the second one. All right, there we go. That was more complicated than it needed to be. As we're putting this on here, I'll go ahead and put the fuel line on. Get that good and jammed up in there. Move this clip down there. Okay. I think it's time for a new clip, but that ought to work. Here's how your auto choke works. This turns on and heats up right here. It's your auto choke. And as it starts heating up, it goes ahead and pushes on that. Next up is going to be this gasket right here. Just make sure that this hole corresponds to this hole. Okay. And then our air housing, air filter housing. That's going to go on here like this. And we do have an air hose right here that needs to hook to here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then kind of get into place right there. Okay, so we're good. Now, since we've got this like this, I'm going to go ahead and put pressure on here. Now I've got my 2 bolts right here. So I'm going to put pressure on this air filter housing. I'm going to unscrew this one. Doesn't matter which one you want to start with. Pull that out, keeping it in place. Replace it with the correct bolt. And get it started by hand. Okay. It's started right there. Go ahead and let go of that now. I'll go ahead and get a socket on this, 10mm socket. Tighten this guy up. So I went pretty tight, but not too crazy. Now I'm going to take this one off. I don't really have to put as much pressure this time. But I'm going to put some just in case. Repeat that exact same process right here. Get this one hand started. Uh-oh. Not wanting to quite go there. Okay. So I'm going to loosen this one just a hair. Holding down on this thing. Get on in there. There it goes. Now they're both in. Go ahead and snug these guys up. Yeah, I'm not going too crazy here on that. Let's give them a little something. All right. Air filter is going to go in. This is going to go like this. So these are going to hook down here. That's going to snap into place right there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and kick this thing up. I'll pull this boot back off of here. Hold it upright for a minute. Just go ahead and take a look in here. Make sure we do in fact have a, you're going to touch this. Make sure your spark plug boot is disconnected. So we've got some crap up here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Yeah. Got a plastic bag in here. Some kind of weird shavings. Go ahead and get that stuff off of there.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Go ahead and put this boot back on. And now we can take it out and try to fire it up. All right, here we are. So I'm going to open the gas. I think that's going to be about it. See if we can get this fired up. So the self-propulsion looks like it's working fine. I just killed it. Let's see if it starts right up again. It surged a little bit in the beginning there. I'm thinking that was because it was lacking fuel. Let's see what happens. Otherwise, it sounded pretty good. We'll just cut a little bit of these weeds right here. All right, guys, I think that's going to be about it for this one. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. New carburetor. That was pretty shocking, but it's all good. I'm going to go ahead. I know the oil was just a tad low. It's okay for a minute there. I'm going to go ahead and probably do an oil change on this in the future, sharpen the blade up, do a couple of lubrication points on this thing. Maybe I'll do a whole nother video on just some basic maintenance, replace the spark plug. Other than that, I think we're good. If you guys like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's appreciated. Thanks. Have a great day. Stay safe.